right, so we're going to get right into it. I'm not going to leave it on that one because I really don't like that picture, so I'm just going to fast forward here to what we're going to be talking about. So, hello everyone, and again, thank you for being here. You're going to hear it across the day that we're really happy to see everyone here. I hope that so far you've been getting some really cool information. The presentation from Matthew, as always, was great. S.E.O as well, a lot of good information. So I'm hoping that you're getting some cool ideas, and across the day you're going to get some new information so that we can really help optimize your digital strategies and move forward. So what we're doing today, for my part at the very least, is we're going to be talking about S.E.O, and we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. So my name is Charles Jolicoeur. I'm the co-founder and general manager of Netmedia 360. And Netmedia 360 is really a lot of things. We are a media platform, so consumer-facing websites where we publish news and reviews from vehicles that are presented to us and provided to us from the manufacturers directly. So we talk to the consumers through those platforms. We do a lot of reporting and performance analysis and data collection as well for a variety of different entities. And we also do optimization and content strategies and S.E.O for dealerships across Canada. So in a given month, we write about 750 unique articles every single month. We write another 200 to 300 articles every month for our consumer-facing platforms. So we're really always talking and writing content and doing video content as well. And now, well, we have a great tool that allows us to do a lot of content. And as we're going to see, content is really something that is really the differentiator for a dealership. It's the way that you can really stand out from an S.E.O perspective and from an analytics perspective as well. So now that we're doing a lot more content with AI, well, we can do a lot more things, but we also have to be very careful that we don't start hurting ourselves, because even though we can do a lot of content with artificial intelligence, we can also hurt a lot of our websites if we try to do it the wrong way. So before getting into artificial intelligence, I do want to go back to the basics of S.E.O because it's very important to remind ourselves of what a sound S.E.O strategy actually is. And ultimately, there's a lot of noise when it comes to S.E.O. There's backlinks and meta tags and all sorts of keyword optimization. But at the end of the day, it's all about the user experience. What we're trying to make sure we do on our website is create a great user experience in the same way that you strive to do that in your dealerships when somebody visits you in person. We want to make sure that our website is easy to navigate. We want to make sure that our site speed, the page loads quickly, because we all know that as soon as that page is not loading, we're going somewhere else, right? So we want to make sure also that we have all the features on our website that our consumers are looking for. So we want to have trade-in appraisals, we want to have payment configurators. When somebody gets on our site, are they getting the information that they're looking for? So it all comes down to these elements, and it simplifies the S.E.O game a little bit. But it also comes down to the content and the way we communicate with our audience on our website. And that can be through video, it can be through articles, but what are we saying to our consumers on our website? And we're saying that content is important, but Google is also saying that content is important. As a matter of fact, Google has been saying for a long time that the content that you put on your website is very, very important to where you rank. But in August of 2022, they turned it from a general recommendation to an actual element of their algorithm. And so what Google told us with the core update that they did in August of 2022, it says, we've been telling you for years to write quality content that answers questions, content that people will find useful. You're not really doing it, so now sites that aren't doing it are actually going to be punished in the search engine results, while sites that do good quality content, that's original, that's relevant, that answers questions, those sites will have higher rankings. So Google, it's not that hard to figure out if you just take a second to read what Google wants us to do on our websites. The recipe is all laid out there. And there we go. Google tells us what is quality content. Again, answer questions. So we have to make sure, and Matthew alluded to this earlier, people have questions when they're reading our articles, when they're looking at our videos, when they're visiting our site. Does your content answer these questions, and what are these questions? Also, is your content aligned with what people are actually looking for? And is it just informational, not promotional? You can sell your products somewhere else on the site. When we're talking about just informing people, don't be too promotional. Don't try to shove down their throats the information. Just give it to them and let the consumer, the reader, decide what to do with it. And it has to be fun to read, and it has to be pleasant to read as well. These, again, are not things that we're saying. These are really things that Google is saying. And so these basics of SEO, another important element to keep in mind is that SEO, it used to be seen, and it was sort of a distinct channel within a broader digital strategy. Today, what we're seeing is that everything you're doing from a pure SEO standpoint actually filters into other elements of your overall digital strategy. So if you're doing the right things from an SEO standpoint, you're also going to see better results in your digital advertising. You're going to see better lead generation. You're going to see higher conversion rates. Your social media pages will be reaching more. So ultimately, starting off with all of these basics doesn't just help us get more organic traffic, it helps us have a better performing site overall. So it really is something that we want to keep in mind as we put in our strategies and we develop our digital marketing. Now, of course, the basis of SEO is more organic traffic. And if we're doing an SEO and a content strategy, we have to be seeing increases in organic traffic. And if we do content well, we really do see a trend in organic traffic. We're going to see, these are our clients here, and it's always in relation to what dealerships who aren't doing SEO are seeing. That's how you have to look at it. 27% increase in organic traffic means absolutely nothing if we don't have a comparison base, because other dealerships might be doing 30% because searches are just up. So what you want to be able to see when you're doing your SEO strategy is, okay, we had 27% increase over other dealerships who aren't doing it in the same period of time, looking at the same brands and the same geographic considerations. So we're doing a lot of things when we're doing SEO, and this is what we're trying to get as an end result. So whether you're doing it with us, with anybody else, you have to see constant increases in organic traffic. And you want to see, for example, that your organic traffic is following the trends. So this year in 2023, there's a lot more search for new vehicles. So new vehicles are back. Last year it was pre-owned that was on top because there was no inventory. Now people are starting to feel and read that there's more new vehicles available, so now people are searching more for it. And then we're also seeing that we have now electric vehicles. We have a ton of new technology. So electric vehicles bring a lot of questions with consumers. And if you create content that's aligned with those questions and answers those questions, you can see increases such as 271% on your electric vehicle pages from year over year and from period over period. So the content allows you not just to get more traffic, but to help consumers across every product that you're offering. And this can go to service, it can go to financing as well. And so you get these kinds of results when you do, again, the quality content. That's going to be the theme. And what is quality content? Well, it's the choices of subjects that you decide to cover. It's aligning that information in a very different and unique way. So the way you present that content, can it be 3 things to know about the 2024 Mazda CX-90? Or it could be how the CX-90 compares to another model. It's how you decide to present the information, and then sometimes you can also filter that into elements such as, these are the new safety technologies in the 2024 Honda HR-V. So you can break down the information. And then it's how much content you do and the consistency of doing that content on a regular basis. So if you do just one article It's not going to work. There's too much going on in the automotive world. Manufacturers, car and driver, they're all there in the search results with you, and they're doing content over content every single day. So one article on one product and then we move on, it's not going to help. And that's where we get into artificial intelligence, because now with artificial intelligence, well, we can create tons of content in the snap of a finger. But there are limitations to it. And you know, the funny thing about artificial intelligence today is that everybody's talking about it, but it's really been around for over 5 years. You know, we've been using it for over 2 years. New York Times has been writing their news with it for the last 4 years. Artificial intelligence has been around for a while, not just in creating content, but also in helping optimize the content and helping understand if our strategies are performing or not. But now the cat's kind of out of the bag, and everybody has access to artificial intelligence, and it's $20 a month if you want the pro version, or it's free. So everybody now is creating tons and tons of content, and there's a massive content dump on the web, and even Google and search engines, they still have to try to figure out what to do with this massive amount of content. There are ways that artificial intelligence can help us that go beyond content creation. AI can help us find those keywords that we want to target and when we should be targeting them and who is searching for those keywords so we make sure we have the right audience. Artificial intelligence can also better understand search intentions and trends and patterns in the way people are searching. So Matthew was talking about tires earlier. Well, there are software out there, AI software, that will tell us when people are searching for specific things in our area and for our products. So we can really fine-tune when we create content for when people are searching for it. And then it also helps us speed up the analysis of our strategies performing well. Now we can just run all of our data in one shot and we see if we're doing the right things or not. But ultimately, it helps us accelerate our content creation. And the point I'm going to try to make today with the examples I'm going to show you in a second is that the first thing we should be doing with AI is doing more content. It has to be used. There are ways that it can be used in a dealership to massively accelerate your content creation. And so the first thing that needs to happen now is that ultimately there are no more excuses to not doing content, because it can be done very quickly. But there's certain content that it's better suited for. So if we look at the limitations, and then we're going to get into some examples, but there's a lot going on in the automotive world. There's a new model every single day being introduced by one manufacturer. Vehicles are being introduced, refreshed, redesigned on a constant basis. There's so much change that it becomes very difficult for software to keep up with that change. So while things can be done with AI, there are things like talking about new models that becomes a bit more complicated because it doesn't have that information available to generate quality content. And it also has a lot of difficulty in unpacking all of the information. So if I were to ask somebody here who's selling the Mazda CX-90, why, 3 ways it stands out. Well, the 3 ways that we feel it stands out, AI won't understand those ways, and it won't understand how to communicate them. So we really have to be careful, and that's what we're going to see in terms of examples here. Just going to get right into it. So let's start with what we can do with AI. And this is a pre-owned vehicle description on a dealership. And I think we can all agree that the pre-owned vehicle description side of things on a dealership is one of the saddest places to be on any website. There's nothing going on here a lot of time. Now, some dealers do it very well. Great description for every product. But a lot of times we kind of get something like, we can take your boat as an exchange. So there are a lot of ways that this can be improved, and it will take less than 20 seconds, because we can ask ChatGPT or any other AI software, create a description for this 2009 Kia Sorento. Now, if that's all we do, the description will be horrible. But around this, I don't show it here, but around this vehicle here, there's all the specs. There's the mileage, the price, the engine, the features it has, and you can copy paste all of that. So you don't even have to make it pretty. You can just say, generate a description for this 2009 Kia Sorento, using the information below, and then you copy paste your page and throw it in there. And what it will give you is something like this, which is tailored with the information, for example, the mileage, the engine, the trim, because we told it what it was, and we just copy-pasted. Now you get all of this, it's literally 10 seconds to do. So if you have 100 cars, you can fill in your entire inventory in about an hour. And then you're done, and then you can just keep going. And you can do this for your pre-owned, you can do it for your new vehicles as well. And this is a service that we actually offer. So we used to, before AI was a thing, we were doing this for a lot of dealerships. Now I'm kind of hurting myself by telling you that you can do this, but that's just kind of the way it is. And this is another example. This is directly taken from, copy-pasted from ChatGPT. Look at your service page. Look at your financing page. Look at these static pages on your website. Chances are they have very, very little content, and the content is not really tailored to your specific services, which is unfortunate because you've probably spent millions of dollars making sure you have the latest technology and the best waiting room and the best service offers that you can in your region. Well, you can tell ChatGPT to describe these services, and you just have to kind of point form them, and it will come out with a massive amount of text. So if you do this for your service, your parts, your accessories, your financing page, you keep doing this on a regular basis, all of a sudden you have massive amounts of customized content, and we're going back to the point of being useful. This is useful for a consumer. Like that description was, it was useful because it provided information. This is useful for them to see what you can do and what you can help them with. So this is an area where you really need to start looking into, hey, can we get a membership on ChatGPT and try this a little bit and see what's happening? If we go now into the actual nitty-gritty of a content strategy, because those elements would be complementary to a really diversified and well-executed informational content strategy. And this would be one example here. So if we look at the subjects, so how the new CX-90 compares to luxury SUVs from Lexus, Volvo, and Acura. That article has a very specific purpose. We're looking to help people understand that the CX-90 can be just as luxurious as premium nameplates, but it has a mainstream nameplate. 3 characteristics of 2023 Mazda SUVs that stand out. We're looking at a particular vehicle after. We're also looking at answering the question somebody might be wondering, the difference between the CX-90 and the old CX-9. So we're trying to cover that. And we're looking at iActive Sense technologies. If we keep going with what I'm showing you here, a kind of the diversified content strategy, the kind of strategy you would want to implement, because all of these titles are aimed at answering different questions that people have at that point in time. So we have the Acadia, we're looking at a comparison here with the Colorado and Frontier, looking at a new model coming in with the Invista, we're looking at the models and the versions for the tracks. We're looking at the base engine in the Silverado, so there's a lot here. You know, sometimes truck buyers, they're not interested in a turbo 4-cylinder. We're going to show them here that it's actually not that bad. So we're looking at a lot of different content areas that we're looking to answer questions with. And this is where ChatGPT starts to reach its limitations, because I just threw in a couple of examples here. This, we asked ChatGPT to give us the features that stand out about the redesigned 2024 BMW X5. So that was it was introduced a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, and we just wanted to create an article to inform people about what's new in the redesigned X5. And it's not bad until, I mean, what it does is it skims the surface. So the redesigned exterior, it doesn't really go into the actual details of what was redesigned, but it's not bad. There's more technology. It doesn't really explain what that new technology is, but it does mention the iDrive 8 system, so that's okay. But then we get to the electrified powertrains, and then we kind of run into some issues, because we see here, among the powertrain choices are gasoline and diesel engines. That's not happening on the 2024 X5. There is no more diesel on the X5, and there hasn't been since 2019. And then we also start BMW has introduced a fully electric variant, the BMW iX5. That didn't happen. So where it got that information from, we don't know, but it decided that we want to highlight a new electric version that's actually still a concept, that hasn't been officially unveiled, And it's in there. So now we've just completely went against what Google is telling us in terms of useful, relevant, factual content. And if we have somebody who is not paying attention to this or doesn't know the vehicle, and we publish that, and then we do this months on end, we're going to have a bunch of completely irrelevant articles on our website. Here, we asked the same article that we had previously, the CX-90 versus the CX-9. We asked it to compare them, and this was actually a week and a half ago. So the potential 2024 Mazda CX-90, if released, might introduce new powertrain options or enhancements. So this is a text that comes from last week. Mazda's been talking about the inline six-cylinder for decades now, it seems, but it's been a fact that the CX-90 is coming with a new engine for a year now, and it hasn't picked up on it. And if somebody is reading this, what is it going to tell them? They're going to say, this is completely ridiculous. Why the potential CX-90? It's here. I want to know the differences. And then we also find things like comparing two new models, the Mercedes-Benz EQE and the BMW i5. And what we see here is that it tried to do something. It didn't tell us that it couldn't do something. So it's kind of like that contractor you hire and you say, can you fix my steps? And they're like, yeah, not a problem, we can do that. And then you come home and you realize everything's messed up. It doesn't tell you it can't, but what it does is, doesn't provide information on range, but if somebody's reading this, they want to know what are the differences, which one has the most range. Doesn't say. It also says that it doesn't talk really about the technology and the features. But we know that if you're BMW or you're Mercedes, that's one of your major selling points is the features and the technology. We're just kind of skimming the surface here. So this type of article can be excessively useful at a dealership level to help people understand the value of either the EQE or the i5. But if you're not providing that information, then you're really just wasting the content and you're ultimately hurting yourself down the road. And last but not least, this one is one of my favorite ones. It's the Volkswagen ID Buzz that we saw earlier, so the cutest toaster on the way to the market today. The ID Buzz, this article, the command for ChatGPT was highlight 3 features of the new ID Buzz. And there are so many mistakes here that really this is completely useless as an article, but the battery pack is wrong, the horsepower numbers is wrong. We asked it to do it for the Canadian market, and it still put the range in miles, which is wrong. And it also says that it will be an instant classic when it hits dealerships in 2021. Now, that just came out of ChatGPT for no reason at all. It's just a random, weird thing. And this was done, again, a couple of weeks ago. So this is what we would call a discouraging article, because if you decide we're doing all of our content with ChatGPT and this comes out, you can't publish this. This is worthless. So what we would recommend is that knowing these articles, knowing these limitations, is you just combine both elements of a good and sound digital strategy for your SEO. So what you can do with AI is you can improve the content of your static pages. You can add unique content to your new and used vehicle displays. You can create specific content for your dealership and what sets it apart. So you can really add all of this, and you can do all of this even in-house and do it very quickly. What you can't really try to do with it so far, at least as of now, and it's evolving, is communicate relevant and diverse information about your products. There's just too much of a risk. You can't compare it. You can't compare your vehicles with other vehicles because it's not going to highlight the real differentiators between the models. And you can't talk about pricing, you can't talk about discounts, you can't talk about value proposition, but that's something that you really want to be talking about because that's something that for a dealership, I can tell you Google sees the dealer as the best source of information for pricing, value, financing, and people search a lot for pricing. So if somebody's searching pricing for a model and you have an article on that, you're going to be ranking very well. But unfortunately, AI can't do that for you, it can't help you. So to sum it up, really knowing what we know, that quality content is important, and knowing that we have a great tool with artificial intelligence, I would recommend that you definitely embrace it. You learn to play with it. You learn to see what it can do and how to use it, the right commands, and then you use it to really apply in those areas that it works very well. And I would also suggest that you use it as a complement to an SEO strategy that you're doing either yourself, but it's actually somebody writing the content, or you're doing it externally. But have somebody write those product-focused articles and then supplement it with really quick articles on your vehicle displays. And try not to see SEO anymore as its own separate element. Really try to see it as, if we do these things well, we're going to have a high-performing website across the board. So that's the presentation. Were there